Hello everyone. So I welcome you to this session of XBRL Weekly News from NeoClarus. So this is edition number 2, and let me introduce myself. My name is Somnath Ray. I'm a CPA with a diploma in IFRS. I'm also a SAP certified associate. So in this edition we are going to cover some important topics. So the first one would be some information about the changes to the US GAAP 2015 taxonomy, which was recently released for public review and comment. And then I'm going to cover a very important accounting standards update, and that is regarding revenue recognition. So this was a joint effort between FASB and ISB, and on the ISB side it's known as IFRS 15, and it covers the revenue recognition concept or standard. And then lastly I'm going to cover like the data quality issues which were detected by XBRL US until September 3rd 2014. So let us go into the taxonomy, the US GAAP 2015 taxonomy. So we are seeing the changes over here. So for the 2015, the latest release of the US GAAP taxonomy, we see that the deprecated items are 126 in number, as we see on this SAP Business Objects dashboard, and it actually was 955 in 2013, and then it went down to 177 in 2014, and then finally in 2015 it's only 126. So the next type of changes is with regard to the label changes, as we see over here, and that's only 48 in number for 2015. So it was initially 1134 in 2011. The reference changes are only 262 in number for 2015, and for the definition changes it's only 82 in number for 2015. And then let's look at new elements. So there are only 198 new elements for 2015. We can also see these numbers in these smart meters. And then we have deleted elements which are 628 in number for 2015, and for undeprecated there are no undeprecated items, so there are no period type changes as well. The clarification type changes are 4 in number for 2015. So let's move over to the next topic, which is a very important standard both on the FASB side and on the IFRS side. So this was with regard to the revenue recognition concept, and so let's look at this joint effort between FASB and ISB. So as we see on this slide, so this was actually a joint effort between FASB and ISB to develop a common revenue standard for recognizing revenue to improve the comparability of the financial statements, and to simplify the preparation of the financial statements, and to provide improved disclosure requirements, and with an objective to provide a more robust framework for addressing revenue issues. And so the basic benefit which was gained from this exercise, that it removed inconsistencies and weaknesses in revenue requirements, and so that was the basic objective. And so let's look at the principle. So the guiding principle behind the revenue recognition, as it is known as revenue from contracts with customers, was that an entity is that an entity shall recognize revenue to depict the transfer of promised goods or services to customers in an amount that reflects the consideration to which the entity expects to be entitled in exchange for those goods or services. So that was the guiding principle for the revenue recognition standard. And so let's look at the objective. So the objective behind this was to provide the users of the financial statements important and useful information about the nature, amount, timing, and uncertainty of revenue and cash flows arising from a contract with a customer. So let us look at the steps for recognizing revenue. So the first step is to identify the contract or contracts with the customer, and the next step is to identify the performance obligations in the contract. Then the third step is to determine the transaction price, and the fourth step is to allocate the transaction price. And the last step and the final step is to recognize revenue when a performance obligation is satisfied. So we see that each of these steps are very logical in sequence. So let's move over to the next slide. So this slide actually talks about the differences between the FASB and the ISB on this standard. And so the first difference is regarding the probability, regarding the term probability of collectibility of the consideration, that is the collectibility threshold. The next difference is regarding the interim disclosure requirements. So we know that topic 270 is used on the FASB side with regard to interim reporting guidance or disclosure requirements. However, on the ISB side it is guided by IS 34. And regarding the early application and effective date, the effective date for IFRS 15 is for annual reporting periods beginning on or after January 1st, 2017. However, for FASB, that is, the standard for FASB is known as Topic 606, is effective for public entities for annual reporting periods beginning after December 15, 2016. And then there is a difference with regard to impairment loss. So FASB Topic 606 do not allow an entity to reverse an impairment loss on an asset recognized in accordance with the guidance on costs to obtain or fulfill a contract. However, on the IFRS 15 side, this it requires an entity to reverse impairment losses. And then with regard to FASB Topic 606, this applies to non-public entities. However, there is no such guidance with regard to IFRS 15. So let's move over to the implementation side of this new standard. So for FASB, it says that the codification amendments in this accounting standard update are not effective for public companies until fiscal years beginning after December 15, 2016. So thus, we do not see any update for the XBRL elements within the XBRL taxonomy for the newly released US GAAP taxonomy for 2015. However, for the IFRS 15, like for ISB, it's effective from January 1st, 2017, but since an early application is or an early adoption is permitted, we see that the IFRS taxonomy for 2014 has already been updated with the XBRL elements with regard to IFRS 15. So that is all about it for revenue from contracts with customers. And let's move over to the next topic, which is XBRL data quality issues detected by XBRL US through the XBRL US consistency suite. So let us look into that, and let us view that from the SAP Lumira Visual Intelligence. So we see that this is a dashboard over here, and so this is basically, let's look at one of these charts over here. Let's look at the tree map, and let us pick this one. uh, so we are seeing the SAP Lumira Visual Intelligence tree map. So we see that as of September 3rd, 2014, the invalid access member combination is standing as 1.236 1.23 or 24 million, and so that's a huge number of invalid access member combination errors. And we are seeing that the negative value is 584,068, which affects the financial semantics and the accuracy of financial reporting, of digital financial reporting. And we also see that incorrect date errors are 476,052, which also affects the accuracy of the financial reporting. And of course, the invalid access member combination affects the comparability of the XBRL data. And we see another important or serious error, which is required value that is not reported, so which affects the completeness of the financial statements through XBRL reporting. And then there are some other errors as well, like invalid line items used over here, invalid line items used with an access, so this also affects the comparability. And we have let's see over here, calculation errors, which stands at 40,600, so which affects the financial semantics and the accuracy of the financial statements. And then we have, let's go into another chart. Let's see this graph over here. So we are seeing all the errors, and we see these four skyscrapers over here. That is that is incorrect date, invalid access member combination, negative value reported for a concept that is expected to have a positive value, and then required value that is not reported. So we see the numbers as well. And then we see the calculation errors, which stands at 40,600. And we see that changes in base taxonomy affect element usage, so that stands at 118,876. So then we see deprecated element is reported, that's 48,124. Incorrect calculation weight, that's a very serious error. It affects the financial semantics and the accuracy of XBRL financial statements. And we see incorrect decimals defined, so that also affects the accuracy of the XBRL data. And so these are some of the major errors we see over here. Required value that is not reported, we have gone through this before. And so we see over here, this is also affecting the accuracy. Value reported for a concept appears unreasonably large or small, that's 177,494. So these are the few errors, and the same type of information is being presented in the form of an Excel spreadsheet. So we see all the errors over here. Now the changes from last week to this week, let's see that. And so let's open this. So we are seeing that, so this is actually the changes from August 25th 2014 until September 3rd 2014. So we see that the maximum number of increase in the errors is with regard to duplicate extension concept. So that's 16,798. So this is an error which actually is due to creating an extension concept, although there is a standard US GAAP taxonomy concept available for use. So so this is a very serious error. So this is actually affecting the comparability of XBRL data. And then we find another major increase in the number of errors due to invalid access member combination. So that's 2662 from last week, that is August 25th. And then the incorrect date has also increased by 1803 from August 25th 2014. And then negative value reported for a concept that is expected to have a positive value, that's a serious error, and there has been an increase of 1241 from last week. And then another significant increase in the error is required value that is not affected, that is not reported. So this actually affects the completeness of the financial statements with regard to XBRL reporting. So that's an increase of 886. So that's a significant number. So these are the significant increases from last week in the different types of errors. So that's all about it in this edition. So hope this information was useful, and if you have any questions with our XBRL services, you can reach us at 408-796-1533, 408-796-1533. Thank you very much for watching this, and we will be back soon with the next edition of XBRL news, which is a weekly thing from us, from NeoClarus. So thank you very much again, and see you soon next week.